You already know the Tailor Institute is where therapists and researchers help individuals on the autism spectrum harness their special skills so they can enter the workforce and live an independent life. And you might wonder why the Tailor Institute is in our community. Well, the short answer is because a local parent saw the need for advanced research and treatment of autism. But like many short answers, there's more to the story.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Did I turn out to be all you had in mind?
Remember the Pinocchio story? A boy carved from a block of wood by his father, the clever puppet who dreams someday he'll be a real boy. There's a modern analogy to this folk fable that deserves to be told. Two tales, really, woven into one fabric. The first about a bright young boy full of promise who becomes trapped in autism's wooden shell, and the other of his father's unwavering resolve to shape a meaningful life for his son and help him become a real boy again.
What's it like out there in the bustle and the noise? Will they turn and stare if I go out to play with the other boys?
When I was a toddler, I was like other children my age, but around age 3, things began to change for me very quickly. I lost almost all my ability to speak. I couldn't express myself anymore. This left me frustrated and scared and terribly unhappy. I had developed autism. To me, Pinocchio is a lot like someone with autism. As a puppet, his blank expression is the look of many people with autism. Like me, when I was younger, Pinocchio didn't really know how to communicate with or act around others. In many ways, my autism made me feel like I was trapped in a wooden body too, isolated from everyone around me when all I really wanted, just like Pinocchio, was to be a regular kid.
Do I look a bit like you? Are my painted eyes as blue? Will you help me through if I fall behind?
Tailor Institute began because a journey was ending, a voyage of discovery that began nearly 20 years earlier.
You know, the dramatic change in Tailor came when he was 3. And he was a totally different person. And we didn't know what was going on. He had a little brother that was about a year old, and we thought maybe this was some sort of sibling issue. Things kept getting worse. Eye contact, all of those things, all those sensory issues started happening. We didn't know what to do. We went to our family doctor, and he said, boy, there's a change. Something has happened here. He said, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to send you to, he sent us to a renowned St. Louis medical institution. We went to the psychiatry department. The head of the psychiatry department took Tailor into a little playroom with one of the resident psychiatrists. They spent about a half an hour with Tailor. Then he shuttled Tailor's mom and me into his office and sat us down on a sofa and said a word we had never heard associated with our son before. He said, your child has autism. And what that means is that he'll never have any meaningful social relationships. He'll never have any friends. Probably won't be able to attend public school. Probably won't be able to be in a mainstream class if he does attend school. He'll never have a job when he grows up. He'll never be married. He'll never, just this litany of nevers. And then he added, he'll probably become violent as a teenager. And then he added, it's not too early to start thinking about institutionalizing him and getting on with your lives, because this boy pretty much has no future. And then he invited us to head on. Went to the parking garage, got in our car, got on the interstate. Taylor was in the back seat in his car seat. We're on our way home, heading south on the interstate for a couple of hours. I adjusted the rearview mirror, kept looking at Taylor in the rearview mirror. And thinking, not my child. This is not going to happen to my child.
Something inside of me longs to be set free. Someday you're gonna see who I really am. Am I just a toy? Can't tell bad from good. Am I your little boy with a heart carved out of wood?
In 1984, little was known about the autism disorder. But with patience and intuition, David Crow devised common sense therapies to help his son build an independent life. Many of those strategies are used at Tailor Institute every day, and we see their value every time ability shines through disability. When David recognized Taylor's natural ability as an artist, he urged him to develop those skills which eventually led to Taylor's acceptance at the California Institute of the Arts, from which he graduated in 2007.
One of the things that really inspired me about Taylor was that he had these areas of ability and interest that really propelled him into the world and really connected him to the world. And I saw so many kids, as I was watching Taylor grow up and becoming involved in the culture of autism, I saw so many kids with autism that were really just kind of pigeonholed, and they really weren't looked at, and their abilities weren't really studied. One of the things that's happened with what they call the autism epidemic is more and more kids have been diagnosed with autism, and in fact there are more and more kids with autism now than there used to be. And there has been a tsunami of individuals with autism heading for adulthood that don't have anywhere to go, that society doesn't know what to do with them. And a lot of them are essentially wards of the state because we have not responded to that. I started thinking about how very little, and I researched it, and very, very little work was being done on those areas of strength in kids with autism. And I really believe there's a lot more than 10%. I believe there's much more than 10% where there are areas of ability that are just absolutely unrecognized. If you can find those narrow little skills and build on them, you can improve social skills, you can improve communication skills, you can bring these people into the world in a way that they otherwise wouldn't make it. So Tailor, and that's why the Tailor Institute is named, it's kind of a play on words, it's about tailoring services to individuals with autism. But the idea behind the Tailor Institute is to explore and build a better understanding of what those skills are, what can be done with them, even down to the microscopic neurological pathways in the brain. What's going on with these kids when this happens? And how can we take that and build on it and give these kids fuller lives?
Your donations help Tailor Institute launch a children's pilot program called Creative Minds, where a group of youngsters learn to identify their own strengths and abilities by participating in a wide range of activities, from art and music to architecture and science. Dr. Daryl Triffert, a world-renowned authority on autism and savant skills, and a consultant on the motion picture Rain Man, said this about Creative Minds.
Well, I think the Tailor Institute is cutting edge in this endeavor to look at giftedness and what do you do with it. The reason that that children's pilot program is important is certainly from a research point of view to help parents understand what works and doesn't work, and help guide them. But the even better news is that if you take that giftedness and you do work with it and you do train the talent, they do get better language, they do get better social skills, they do become more independent. It's not a frivolous, gee whiz, look at that kind of skill, let's have fun looking at it. I get emails from parents all over the world who are saying, I've got a child, I've got a son or daughter who, and then they'll go on to describe the child, and usually with some gift, and they say, what do we do with it? Is there a place where we can go to get some advice on how to really capitalize on this? The kind of work that Tailor Institute is doing is cutting edge with respect to training the talent, and that is central. That is central to the improvement and progress in so many people.
Our ultimate goal for the Tailor Institute, and this is the thing that is really exciting, and this is really where we're headed, and this is the vision for the Tailor Institute. We want to identify these kids and identify their abilities and skills, as narrow as they might be, as small as they might be. If we find an area of ability in a 5-year-old, we can start building on that. He's not the strange little kid in class anymore. He's not the kid that can't do those other things. He's the kid that can do this. Look at that. Look at what he can do, or she can do. You change the culture of the world around that individual. You're not trying to change the world. You're just trying to change that little part of the world surrounding that child, and that'll make all the difference in the world. If you increase independence of any individual with autism, that helps everybody. And that's what this is about. It's nothing that's ever really been systematically looked at before, and it's something that really, I think, is the key to the future for at least a percentage of these individuals with autism. It's fascinating, and the things we've already discovered are just astounding.
So why is Tailor Institute in Cape Girardeau? You could say it's because a local parent wanted to share what he'd learned over 2 decades working with autism, and provide a way to help other kids with autism discover their strengths and harness those abilities to build productive, independent lives for themselves in the community. Or you could say it's because David Crow had a vision to change a little part of the world.
I'm more than just a toy cut from a block of wood. Inside's a real live boy made of flesh and blood.
Who is that right there? What are we doing here? Are we having fun?